Hi, I'm Tom Jones from the St. Petersburg Times. I'm joined by Times NFL and Bucs writer Rick Stroud. And Rick, the NFL Players Association and the NFL continues to negotiate on a new agreement. The deadline 5 o'clock tomorrow. How do you see this playing out? Will they reach an agreement? Will they extend it again? Will we have a lockout? What do you think might happen?
Well, nobody knows, and I think the easy answer is that this is always darkest before the dawn. Right now, as we tape this, it's all about financial disclosure, and the NFL Players Association wants more. NFL thinks they've given them enough. All this could end up in court. It doesn't really look very good right now. But I think at the end of the day, and it may not be the end of Friday, but sooner or later these two sides will realize that their best deal is going to come in negotiation and not through litigation. And I think because of that, you very well could see another extension on Friday, because I think the tenor of these talks this week haven't really gone very well. And so I don't see an agreement coming by Friday. So it's either going to be an extension, in my opinion, or Armageddon, where the union files to decertify, and then we're in the courts.
What's the critical part of this deadline? I mean, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, well, they have training camp for another few months. There aren't games for another few months. Why is this deadline and a potential lockout so critical right now?
Well, I think in March, a lot of teams have their sponsorship deals, and so there's a lot of contracts and a lot of money that's tied up that has to be, consummated now. And then in addition to that, you have free agency. And remember now, last year was an uncapped year. There are guys from that 05 class like Barrett Ruud that have already been through this twice where they didn't get their bite of free agency. So you have some nearly 500 players out there, and they want to have a chance at this. Now, it's true that they don't play games until September, and that's part of the problem. Is I think some of the owners are really not viewing this as, the real important dates, that they can push it back, and as long as they're playing games. But there will be a lot of money lost, and I think the ruling by Judge Doty in Minneapolis that, the owners did not negotiate their deal with the TV revenue. They were supposed to keep some $4 billion, whether they played or not, as an advance. When that went against them, I think that kind of put the leverage a little bit in the player side.
What about from the Bucs' perspective? What would a lockout do to this franchise if it came right now?
Well, I think it'd be devastating for them because they're a young football team, and they've only, on the one hand, they do have continuity in the coordinators with Raheem Morris on defense, Greg Olsen on offense. You do have the franchise quarterback, but it's a lot to put on their shoulders. As much as guys say they're going to go out and work out and throw to each other, it's not the same as preparing for a season. You want to go ahead and take the next step. I think teams like New Orleans, when you have Drew Brees and Sean Payton have been together, a veteran team, they're going to come out of the gates much faster. So I just think that it's going to benefit some of those teams that have been together, some of the veteran players who know what they're doing and not just learning how to play in the NFL.
One last question for you, Rick. A lot of rumors out there about Tiki Barber. Obviously, his brother Rondé plays for the Bucs. He's coming out of retirement, so it appears. Any interest on the Bucs side?
I think there's some interest only because of his last name. And you can't underestimate the relationship that Raheem has with the Barber family and Rondé in particular. That said, I think there's probably about a 20% chance because this guy hasn't played. He's 36, and they're a young football team. Where does he fit in with LeGarrette Blount, and whether or not Cadillac Williams comes back as a free agent? That's the big question.
All right, that's Rick Stroud. I'm Tom Jones. Be sure to follow the latest on the NFL labor situation on TampaBay.com and in the St. Pete Times.